This is Garrison Gunn right before our hockey game. And you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. And yeah, I didn't have to plan a video. This is all you. You did this one.
I did the research. Or I didn't really do research. I just did the reading.
And you had the idea.
And I had the idea, and the research was already done, and I thought it was fascinating. So I thought we'd raise that.
Yeah, I don't know where this video is going to go, so that's exciting for me. I get to learn some new stuff here. And
yeah. I have, from Forbes magazine, a list of the buy-in fees or expansion payment fees for all the NHL teams going back to the beginning of time, beginning of expansion era in 67.
Interesting.
And this amount of money will probably be interesting to you and maybe the viewers.
It's applicable because Vegas played $500 million 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle looks like it's going to pay $650 million. How much is Houston going to pay if they want to get in the league, or Quebec, or whoever?
Yeah.
So the conversation is applicable to what's going on in the NHL right now. So.
That's right. And as you said in one of your recent videos, by the time it gets to Quebec, and the time you're looking and converting that to Canadian dollars, you're looking at maybe $1 billion to get into the NHL in the very near future, at least in Canadian money.
I don't know how financially viable that is for anyone in Canada.
No.
So I mean, if you look at if you look at Forbes, because they just released the amount that each team is worth. Mm-hmm. And there's 4 teams above $1 billion. Only 4 out of the 31 above $1 billion. And these are original 6 teams: Montreal, Toronto, Chicago, and the Rangers.
Yeah.
And those are the only 4 teams above $1 billion. And you're going to charge Quebec over potentially $1 billion. After they buy the team, is Quebec going to be worth $1 billion?
Yeah.
No.
That's the question.
So, I don't know. It's tough. And sorry, that was U.S. money too, not Canadian money.
Yeah, so even 750 or 800 million American money.
Yeah, I didn't take into consideration.
Yeah, but even that's a lot of George Washington.
Yeah, a lot of coin.
Yeah. So as we know, looks like Seattle might have to pay in the $650 million range.
650.
Vegas just got in for $500 million. And Vegas was the first expansion in almost 20 years.
Since like Minnesota or Columbus or whoever it was in 2002.
So if you go back to 1997, which is when they bought in, it was Atlanta Thrashers, now in Winnipeg, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Minnesota Wild, and Nashville Predators. And the expansion price then was $80 million.
What?
$80
Are you
million.
Serious?
I am serious. Now, obviously the money changes value over time. So Forbes did a great thing here. They broke down the price as it was then, but what it would be worth in today's dollars.
Because of inflation.
Right, the rising inflation. So you take that $80 million and you convert it to today's dollars.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I would say like maybe 200 million, maybe.
122.
Yeah, like 200 top ends.
Yeah. So 122 million in today's dollars is what it cost to get into the NHL back in 1997.
I think I have a theory as to why, but I think it's so grossly overpriced because the NHL knows that this is their last opportunity to get that big expansion paycheck, because the league doesn't necessarily want it to grow above 32 teams.
Yeah,
they'd probably consider a 33rd team. If Seattle and Houston gets a team and they need to relocate Arizona and it goes to Quebec or whatever, they'd probably consider 33 teams, but they want 32. So they know that their time is very limited, and how many checks they can cash, and potentially only 1 or 2 left. So that's why they're charging this insane amount of money.
Makes sense.
Because they want to make bank.
5 years before that previous expansion, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks and Florida Panthers joined the league.
Yep. And
it was $50 million.
Okay.
The previous year, 91, the Senators and Tampa Bay joined the league, $50 million.
Okay.
And 1990, the San Jose Sharks joined the league at $50 million. So for those 3 big join years, it was $50 million. The dollar fluctuated a bit back then, but it was hovering around 90 million in today's dollars. So still, we're down. Interestingly, when Anaheim joined, of the 50 million they paid, it didn't all go to the NHL. Half of it went to the LA Kings as compensation. And
From San Jose?
From San Jose. Or no, from Anaheim, sorry. From Anaheim.
Duh.
And the other $25 million went to the league, which was kind of interesting. And there's a similar indemnity going back in time here that I'll get to in a minute.
And we could see that happening if, for example, I think Hamilton in Ontario, if they got a team, they probably have to pay some of that fee to Toronto.
Or Buffalo, or both.
Or both. Or if Hartford came back, they'd probably have to pay Boston. And if Quebec came back, they would have to pay Montreal. But Montreal's already said that they wouldn't charge Quebec to come back in the league.
And I don't know if they have the legal capacity to charge, because I think the radius is 50 miles as far as the exclusion zone.
Yeah,
but still,
I guess Hamilton wouldn't be in.
I think Hamilton.
Or Buffalo wouldn't be in that, but Hamilton would, right?
Well, if you're starting up in Hamilton, you're within 50 miles of Buffalo, and you're within 50 miles of Toronto, I think.
Oh, because Hamilton's west and down?
Yeah, Hamilton's kind of on your way from Toronto to Buffalo, but halfway through your trip, you drive through Hamilton.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay,
yeah. So that was interesting. Now, if you go back even farther in time, and things change a little bit if you go back into the 70s, because you had the WHA on the go. There was lots of competition to get into cities.
Yeah.
The NHL probably wanted to undercut the WHL or
WHA.
Sorry, and that way be more attractive to prospective sports enterprises that wanted to set up hockey. Back in all throughout the 1970s, we're talking the Edmonton Oilers, the Hartford Whalers, the Quebec Nordiques, the Winnipeg Jets in 79. And back into 74, it was the Kansas City Scouts and the Washington Capitals. In 72, it was the Atlanta Flames and the New York Islanders. And in 70, it was the Buffalo Sabres and Vancouver Canucks. All of those teams were charged $6 million.
Do you have the inflation?
I do. Interestingly, in 1970, the cost was, in today's dollars, $37 million. In 1972, those teams joined, in today's dollars, $35 million, because it's going down at this point. In the 1970s, there was a bit of an economic collapse that I remember very well, and the American dollar actually lost a lot of value.
Is the whole gas crisis?
That was part of it, disconnecting from the gold standard and other things. There was other reasons why currencies fluctuated, but it fluctuated. The 1974 teams joined for what today would be $29 million, and this is the most interesting. In 1979, $6 million was $19 million.
So less than the salary of Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane.
Amazing.
I think.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah,
about that. Yeah,
that's less than 2 carry prices next year.
Yeah,
for an entire team. Of that amount, of the $6 million. The New York Islanders paid $6 million to the league, and then they paid an additional $4 million to the Rangers. So it actually cost them $10 million.
Makes sense.
To get in. Because, Long Island, Uniondale, and downtown Manhattan are pretty close.
What about a relocation team? Do they have to pay a fee? Like New Jersey, I think, relocated from... Where did they relocate from? They were
in Colorado. They were the old Colorado Rockies, right?
Right. So I wonder if New Jersey had to pay...
I don't remember.
...a fee. Someone in the comments, I bet, knows.
Oh, yeah. We'll by the time this video airs and I get to read the comments, we'll know.
Yeah.
And so will all the viewers if you read the comments. And the very first expansion, this is the big doubling of the league. They had 6 teams in 1966-67 and 12 teams the following season.
Yeah.
And those teams are mostly still around. Only one is not. Any guesses?
Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, Buffalo.
Actually, 2 aren't here anymore.
Buffalo?
Nope. Buffalo came in 1970.
Golden Seals?
Right. Golden Seals is one.
And I don't know the other.
There's a bit of a trick. Minnesota. Because they joined as the Minnesota North Stars. Now they're in Dallas. Now there's a new team in Minnesota. So
okay.
That's a bit of a...
I'll accept that.
That's an unfair question. Yeah. The cost to join the league back then was $2 million in 1967. Now, in today's money, that would be $15 million. So you could have had an NHL team. Pittsburgh Penguins, $15 million. In today's money, you're good to go.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
So Shea Weber, at first glance, made $14 million in 2014-2015. If he had have gotten actually all that money, and gone back in time, he could have bought an NHL team. That's funny.
It is. And it just shows you, I guess the good news is that the value of having an NHL team has risen dramatically, especially in the last 2 decades.
It's great news for the NHL as a business. It's terrible news for anyone who wants to buy an NHL team.
Well, yeah,
but
it's a hard business to get into now.
Because that's just the bid. That's just the bid. Like,
that's right. That's the bid. That's not paying players.
That's like
not
the deposit.
Yeah. That's just so they'll talk to you.
Yeah, you need to spend at least another potentially $83 million or $82 million next season on salary cap if you spend to the top. And that doesn't include other things like the GM. You're paying your GM for all your staff. It's crazy.
Rental of the rink, depending on who owns it.
Totally.
All of that.
Travel for the players, the planes and the
charter a plane for a whole year.
Buying the sticks and the jerseys and the crazy.
Yeah, but you get money too. You get money in revenue sharing. You get money off this escrow that you explained so well the other day. You get money back in some ways, ad revenue and that kind of thing.
Like I don't feel bad because when you're a billionaire, what else are you going to spend your money on, really? I mean, you're probably old.
Oh, let me think.
You're probably old. There's not a lot of young billionaires out there.
No.
So it takes a lot of time to acquire that wealth. So you're probably going to kick the bucket in the next 30 years, and you're not going to be able to spend. You'd have to try, I think, pretty hard to spend $5 billion or whatever you have.
I'd love to have the opportunity to prove you wrong.
So would I. Yeah. So that's interesting. So thanks.
I thought it was, and I think you make a good point. It's not necessarily a great thing for all concerned that the cost of a team is so high now. It makes it harder for some markets to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Markets that might be a better hockey fit, like a Milwaukee or maybe a Cleveland, or a place that now in this climate, never going to happen.
And when the NHL gets big checks like that, like a $500 million or $650 million, and what I meant by it's good for the NHL is because they would be more willing to allocate some of their revenue and that money towards teams like Arizona, who's having arena problems. They might consider offering some money to help keep a team in a location like Florida or Arizona, because Bettman does not want to see these teams leave these cities. Like he doesn't want to do that. Atlanta had to leave because they didn't have an owner, I think so. But Arizona has an owner. They just need to get their arena figured out. Same with Calgary. I know it's not necessarily fair to other teams, but overall, to keep a team where they are is what they want. So they might be willing to use some of that money to help make that happen somehow.
I haven't thought about what the NHL actually does with this money. I've just been on the assumption that they split it off and divvy it up among the other teams. The board of directors, they just, here's your share, your share, your share.
They definitely get a share of it.
Some, yeah. But there's got to be retained money, I guess, somewhere to do these sorts of things that they may have to do.
And go to China and Sweden and some of the stuff.
Yeah. It's all about the money. But interestingly, who's paying it all in the end? We are.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you buy a hat or anything, watch a commercial, except some companies aren't making any money off us.
No.
Because we've blacklisted them.
Got so many.
Because we're so annoyed at their ads.
I think we should make a podcast unrelated to hockey, just where we complain about stuff.
I would love that.
And all the companies that we've boycotted and for what reasons.
I would love that.
Well, that'll be a bonus podcast around Christmas. We'll do it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new like I did. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. And we'll see you in the next one. Adios.